It's EP day. It's EP day. One of my meds didn't get refilled properly. Good morning. We're redoing all my emotes today to be cohesive. And I'm tired. I'm tired. We're probably gonna like intersperse some like Infinity Nikki in here because I don't know if I can just for like 3 hours straight do emotes, but we will do it. There are a few that I really like. So I want to grab those and just like update them a little bit. I was also tired and forgot my meds yesterday. Oh no, mine didn't get filled. They didn't get filled. So yeah. They just straight up don't exist. So I have these emotes here. I know that love gets used a lot. So I want to keep that in the follower tier. I might swap Nat 20 and Nat 1 to be in the follower tier because I think that's funny. And nobody uses EP, so I don't know if I'm gonna keep that one. I'm making coffee and I have my world's okayest mug, so I'm ready to be super okay. Yeah! It's gonna be okay. What ones do I like really like? I really like this one and I don't want to reanimate it, so I'm gonna grab that. I really like this one. Did I get head pat? Yeah, I did. Oh, I need to do shrimp. Actually, I can probably do this more easily. Yeah, because that's on its own layer. So shrimp will be easy to update. I think I want to completely redo the crying one. I don't know how I'll fix it, but I don't know. I had an idea for that. Shrimp! Heaven! Now! Yeah, exactly. Is there any other ones that I really like and I just need to like... Oh, this one, I think. Yeah, you use crying a lot. I want to keep it for sure. I just think I'm gonna reanimate it so it looks a little nicer. A little more to my standards. A lot of these are old. You can tell which ones are old because they have more texture on them. World on fire. Yeah, I can't even find it in here. I don't know where it is. My fine one. That may have been done on Procreate. I don't know where that went. Oh, here it is. It is this one. This one needs to be updated for sure. The fire animation is so bad on this one. It's so bad. I didn't know what I was doing. It's fine. Bonk emote needs to be updated for sure. There is stream. I feel like you're making a joke and not that my stream is down. you almost got me for a second. You almost got me. Haha. Your stream is not down. Thank you. I like this one, but I think it doesn't read very well. Maybe it'll read better with my new design. I don't know. That sort of thing. Yeah, I figured it probably wasn't. I have some good ones in here. Like I have a rage one that I think is funny. Like I never finished this one, but it's kind of funny. More often the bigger eyes. Yeah. Yeah, this one has potential for sure. So I think that I'm gonna take Eepy and I'm gonna take Hydrate and I'm gonna swap out. I'm gonna put Nat 20 in the follower. Nat 20 and Nat 1 in the follower tier. And then we're gonna keep Bop. I'm gonna change Bop to like a different one. Bop is gonna be a different dance. Rage Jack emote. I just don't know how much opportunity you guys are gonna have for that. Cry is getting changed. I do have a tier 3 emote that like I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe I'll put the rage in there. maybe I'll put it up to tier 3 so you have to really like me to use it. I know what to do. What's up, Kenj? I could put creature in tier 3. No. That's not happening. Not doing it. No. I don't want to draw that. I don't want to. I have creature in tier 2 because I don't want people to use it to like make fun of me. It's supposed to be relatable. I can draw it for you. No, I'm not gonna use it. Came downstairs to set stuff up for streams, but everything wants to do a 3-hour update, so I guess I'll come back down later this afternoon. Yeah. 7 streams. 7 streams. Well done. Oh, I need to do a bit. I need to do the that color makes it look like a nose. A bits thing. Yes, exactly. The bits. There we go. That's to remind me. Okay. Firsty. This is going to be the new, like, sort of dance emo. I'm just gonna do my little VTuber dance. New folder, emotes. Oh, I already have an emotes folder? Why? I don't have anything in here. Yeah, you could if you streamed after 3, that would be a good one. I know that Black likes to raid Brutal Moose though. Got an eyelash in my eye. Ah. Oh yeah, I had a cool idea. I would advocate for a Dan raid. Yeah, me too. Oh, it's still in my eye. That's enough attention. Sorry, there's an eyelash in my eye. It like itches. It doesn't hurt. It just kind of itches. I had a cool idea that at the end of this year, right? I want to take all of the clips that you guys make, or me, but mostly you guys, because I truly don't have time to be clipping. I thought I had a stream marker. Yeah, I have a stream marker, so I need to be using that more. But all of the clips that are from this year, at the end of the year, I'm gonna make a little compilation of them. And then that'll be my new channel trailer. Cause like I have one, but it's like all old models and stuff. So yeah, if you see a funny moment, make a clip, and it'll probably end up in a compilation at the end of the year. So I think that'll be fun. I have a bunch of meetings today. We're floating in and out. That's cool. Okay. What am I doing? I'm doing a little like, I'll do a little wiggle. Do a little wiggle. I'm gonna clip every time Jack swears. No, it's gonna make me so self-conscious. I'm starting with this one because I think it'll be pretty easy to... Actually, that was a really good circle. Like, dang, what? That's a really good circle. Dang, good circle. Good circle. I've been... Yesterday I was drawing with Penny, and she was like, Jack, why can't I draw? And I was like, well, if you do these exercises, you'll get better. Convince anyone who sees the trailer that this is a vulgar stream. I mean, I still get to edit the compilations, so I may not put all of them in there. Why is this so good? Dang. It's just gonna be a bunch of bleeps. I mean, if I don't get enough clips, I'm just not gonna do it, right? Like usable clips. Anyways, I was telling Penny about these like art exercises to do to like get better at art, and she was like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, then you don't get to complain when you're not improving. But like, I've been doing some more like serious exercises for art, not exercises of the body. I guess it is kind of exercises of the body, but like art exercises, and like I've seen a good amount of improvement. So I just got in my new sketchbook and some pens to get back into it. Nice. I don't want to get better, just be better. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have that sort of like, I don't want to get better, just be better thing. Like they don't want to put in the work, and then they're like, well, why are my skills so bad? Why am I not good? It's like, well, because you're not putting in the work. Like, look how good that is. And it's just gonna be a tiny emote. Dang it. Right, okay. I'm gonna draw fan art of you to test your claim that anybody's sincere art is good art. Good, do it. Post it. I'm gonna make a, hang on. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but Bleck will tell me if I'm not allowed to do this. I'm gonna create a new personal showcase thing. And it's gonna be... It's gonna be a place to put fan art. But I just feel like you drew a thing of me. Good. But now there's like a place for fan art. I'm kind of mad at how good this looks. It just looks like something a child in a horror movie would draw of you. I want to see it. All art is good. All art is valid. Except AI, but that's not art. Everybody knows that. You missed my incredibly fake Voot art stream. No, I skimmed through that. I saw the stuff you were drawing in there, actually. It was good. It was, like, actually good. Like, some of those Pokemon, like, I can't even do that. Pokemon are hard. All art is valid. I mean, the one I drew for tech support did go on the fridge, so that's questionable, but thank you. No, you don't understand. It was good. Let me find it. It's show and tell time. Oh god, I heard me twice. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Here's the thing. It's a thing. Here's the thing. Look at this. Look at that Magikarp. That's a good Magikarp. That's a good Magikarp. This fucking Magnemite, that's great. It's adorable. This? Are you kidding me? This Metagross? That's good. That's amazing. He looks so good. Friggin' Tangela? Your Tangela is adorable. Look at him. He's so cute. This Gallade? That's awesome. It's so good. We're going backwards through the stream. It doesn't matter. Your art is good. Metacross I nailed. I won't deny that. Yeah. These are good. These are so good. And you should be proud of them. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm not nice. I'm accurate. Oh, you got a good sarcastic retort. Yeah, you shouldn't. Because it's good. That's aggressive niceness. Alright. Cool. This model really emphasizes how much I like tilt my head to the side while I'm drawing. There we go. Wait, let me just... I've noticed I tilt my head slightly and I think it's because my eyes are slightly uneven and that puts them on level. That's fair. I don't know why I do it. It's comfy. But if this tilts... Yeah, that's cute. Wait, is it legible like this far away? No, I can't tell. I have to wait. But I think I can make this taller like this. To like sort of take up more space. Yeah. So then we can put like... If you're interested in making new animated emotes in the future, I would vouch that a yes and no are very usable. I don't know what to replace them with. Like what to replace. Because I like my animated emotes a lot. A pouty cross-arm no would be really cute, and I like that idea. Maybe one day when I get more emote slots. Maybe that'll be the next ones. So, you know. If we get... I think it's like 20 subs right now. Let me see. I have 6 out of 20 subscriber points. So... if we get... 14 more subs. And I don't know when it resets. Probably at the end of the month. We would need 14 more subs by the end of the month to get another animated emote. And that's only one. So... yeah. I guess I could replace uppies. Nobody uses uppies. I could replace uppies. The other ones that are ones that I use a lot. So, I don't know. No, because nobody uses the uppies one. So, I think that's a good one to replace. And I like that idea. I don't know how much longer you get that. Wait, that's interesting. Huh. Sometimes I use uppies when I want a gimme emote. Yeah. It's now in my frequently used. If you guys want me to keep it, I'll keep it. But I was thinking I could replace that with like a no emote. You're not getting a fart emote. Alright, you gift 100 subs. If you personally gift 100 subs, I will make a fart emote. I'm already removing the fart channel before no one liked it. You're a man of many talents, Kenj. Well, I don't have any more slots, Kenj. I don't know what to tell you, man. And the next slot, which is at 14. The next slot opens at 14 subs. And I have already allocated that. I already know what I'm gonna put there. So and I had to make it a number you couldn't afford. More reason to get back onto Twitch. Yeah, YouTube's YouTube's emote system is not great as far as I can tell. Like you can get them on YouTube, but YouTube is easy to stream with Wi-Fi only. I don't know what that means. Like, is YouTube easier to stream to? Using an Ethernet cable will give you better connection. Oh yeah, I have an Ethernet cable. Had a lot of lag with Wi-Fi on Twitch. Really? Do you think YouTube has less lag? That's crazy. I should try multi-streaming. Then I wouldn't have to upload my VODs. I would just stream to the VOD channel. That's interesting. That seems to be popular. The problem I have right now is I need to upload all these VODs. But I can't do it in one big chunk, because it'll take, like, a week. You have to be careful about mentioning Twitch, though. Really? Does YouTube suppress People who talk about it? That's weird. Apparently they're weird about it. That doesn't surprise me. It's really funny that I'm doing this right before I'm taking an animation class. Well, I can't wait to see what you make. Thank you. I have no idea what the assignments are gonna be like. Jack animates games. Jack attempts animation. Channel 2026. No. No. I already don't do enough on my channel that already exists. Okay. Yes. Happy MLK Day. Very important. For us Americans. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I need to like separate everything. I think this will be good. Ooh, new Dresden Files book. Cool. I think my dad reads those. This is why we separate our color. Seems too... What? Don't tell you what? That my dad reads? Sorry. He reads, he mostly listens to audiobooks. I'm so big I gave up fun older brother vibe. Stop fun uncle. I think my brother also reads Dresden Files, so it's not like an old man thing, it's just... Oh, my dad reads that. My brother's my twin, so... You're so uncle-coded. Ham, are you older than me? Aww, little photo shoot. That's cute. I'm definitely older than you, dude. Oh. I thought we were like the same age. I don't know why. You have young energy, I guess. I'm very hip and cool, thank you. I love being an uncle. I get some fantastic kiddos that are a blast to be around. Nice. I feel like I have like older nostalgia than I should. Did I tell you guys? One time I was on Tumblr and I did one of those like ask meme things where people, it was like, tell me, you know, how tall you think I am. And someone told me I had 5'11" energy. I don't know who they were because they were anonymous, but like, thank you, anonymous stranger. We all know you're 75 feet tall canonically. Yeah, definitely. You maybe have 5'3" energy. Really? You think I have 5'3" energy? You're still wrong. It's still taller than I am. I'm 5 feet tall exactly. When I don't slouch. I'm 5 feet tall when I don't slouch. Like, like, I'm a short king. I'm 6'2", everyone is short to me. Wait, 5 foot even? Yeah. The energy you give. Yeah. But yeah, I'm 5 foot even. I'm very small. Yep, Pep. How tall is Ham's energy? Dan was gonna say 5'1" for me. Yeah. Ham has 5'6" energy. I'm so not good with like tall, like height. Cause my whole family is short. Like, my mom is 5'11"3/4. And my grandma's shorter than that. Or 4'11", sorry, not 5'11". 4'11". 4'11 3/4. My mom's really short. She's shorter than me. And then my grandma is even shorter than that. And all of my siblings are like from, like, I'm the shortest at 5 feet, and then I think Moxie is the tallest, and she's like 5'3", I think. And then Nathan just towers over all of us, but they're not blood related, so. I don't know. I don't actually know how tall they are. 5'4" is solid. Nathan, look at them games, Black Boot. Are you taller than Black? Nice. Perfectly average. Yeah, we range from short to like average. I think they have said 6'1". That makes sense. My height is negligible. A W is still a W. Guess I'll take out fine. I'll take out the fire one because nobody uses that one either. So we can have a yes and a no now. I'm gonna sketch those because I feel like it. Use that one a lot? Really? Well, I feel like the yes and no are more useful. But if you guys really want me to keep it, I can. See, I use that one all the time. That's the one I'm replacing with this one. It's gonna be like me going like this. Which I think is more versatile than the one that is like specific to music. What? Let me see. We know that like the no is gonna be you could keep fire over yes. Okay, well we could do that. Is stream jittering for anyone else or just my... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing any dropped frames. Time to watch it 480, oh no. Oh, it's always hard to draw my hair like up. I had a skip, but it was pretty tame. It hasn't repeated. Okay. See ya. See ya, Ham. This one's gonna be hard, I think. Sketch is adorable, thank you. I'm already seeing this getting a lot of views for me. Cool. Good. I need to basically flip this. It's like a ham hydra. It's a messy sketch, but that's okay. That's what sketches are for. One is ham classic, the other is new ham. Don't give Dan ideas. I'm genuinely tempted to make hobby ham taro. Just traumatize them. Hmm. That's pretty good. It's not bad. Sorry, I'm so quiet. I'm like really focused on getting this to look good. There we go. Getting this to be smooth is gonna be hard. Someone has Hobby Ham Tarot? Ham may have taken it. What if you used 1B? What if it was hobby with one? I shouldn't be helping. Jack is too cool not to be helpful. It's my job as a streamer to reply to chat. It's my nature to be helpful. I very nearly used the Hamtaro account to to subscribe to Hobby Ham so that account would forever have the one tag in her channel. Until someone else subscribed. Alright, this looks really good, actually. Especially because it's gonna be like this big. Nobody's gonna be able to tell. Alright. No, that's permanent. Really? It marks the first person to sub permanently? No, it doesn't. Oh, the... Maybe I don't know what you're talking about. There's the bits leader thing, and then there's the subscriber thing. It's like a special badge in just that channel. Oh, I wonder if my dad has it on this one. And that's why I don't know about it, because he's never in my chat. I actually don't know who my first sub would have been. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, because it was so long ago that, like... It might drive them crazy if you do that. got that. Here's our body. Okay, I like that better. Hey! It's a Blackfoot. Chat's trying to figure out more ways to torture Ham while they're in a meeting. How, and also D. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that separately. We would never always try to do that. We're perfect angel demons. Yeah. You guys are perfect angel demons. I can be your angle or your demon. Yesterday's test is to be believed. I might actually be able to stream today. Yay! have so many layers? I was hoping not to have so many layers this time. It's fine. I can't get around the layers. I think I'm gonna use a symmetry for this one. I think the eyebrows got bigger and the face got lower. Emanation. I'm gonna take this. Good Morben. Oh no, your iPhone updated. Ugh. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Is everything all like jelly-like now? Because Dad was just complaining about that the other day. Everything looks so wet. Yeah! Okay, I know what you're talking about. Let me do this, because then I can move it back. Oh no! You have to change your name to Green. Not another new hobby ham. Jesus Christ. My name is Dan. They just come out of the woodwork. Ham's not even here, you guys. Ham's literally in a meeting. What are you talking about? We have 2 Hams right now. I pretend to be I like to pretend to be other people. Oh no. Oh no. 3? There's only 2 Hams that are actually here right now. Requisite Hams achieved! Every silly ass chat bit Dan pulls is another number in chat, so hey. Well, as long as Hobby Hampton follows. I guess I can't complain. Oh, that's so dumb. Okay, I think that is good. Maybe we'll have this side just like peeking out a little bit. Okay. Oh no. What is Hobby Hampton's Shock Dan? What is Hobby Hampton's personality gonna be like? Cause, you know, Hobby Hamtaro is like the, you know, a quote-unquote nice version of Hobby Ham. So, I wonder. I speak no lies. Oh boy. Hobby Hamtaro is the anti-Hobby Ham. Yeah, so one ham speaks only truth, one ham speaks only lies. Newton! Look how good it looks! Oh my god! Wait! It actually looks so good! Thank you, Father! You guys! I'm so proud. Wait, let me turn on the body. I might shift the body back a little bit. There we go. I like that. Okay, now I need to fix the hair because... I can't wait for him to get back to this! Oh boy. So I don't really want the hair to flip. So I should have done the hair on a different layer, but I didn't. And now we're here. She's gonna be so excited. She's gonna be so upset. Oh no. You guys know that apparently if you say subscribe on YouTube, it like highlights the subscribe button? Oh, Hobby Ham's back! Ham, save me from your clones! I don't know what's happening. I think they just missed you. I think they missed you a whole lot. I also missed you, but I don't think I'm quite so insane. I'm starting to get scared. I'm sorry, Ham. I accidentally encouraged it. My personality is to be helpful. And then I realized what I had said, and I was like, oh no. Actually, I don't want this. But I may have accidentally encouraged it, and I apologize. 3! Dan, are you going to start dressing as me? It was gonna be Hobby Ham Tarot, but that was weirdly taken. Oh, good lord, who has that? It's not you? Oh no. Oh no. Dan, do I need a restraining order? What does an internet restraining order look like? Man, you guys hear the sirens outside? They're going fucking bonkers. Blocking someone? Can you block someone on Twitch and then if they're in chat, do you like not see them? I'm curious. But they would still show up on like the streamer's end of things. So I'm like curious how that would work. Huh. If I block somebody, I won't see their messages anymore, but they will see mine. Huh. That's cool. But it still comes through on stream, so like... That's interesting. Wait, if you didn't see it, how do you know a message was blocked? Well, because they can see it on stream. Yeah. It shows up on stream. So you can only really, like, kind of block somebody. I guess they'll be blocked from your streams. Don't give them ideas. The next one's gonna be hobby spam. Dan clearly has too many email accounts. I'm sorry, Ham. I did think this was funny at one point. And so I allowed non-verified phone numbers to be in the chat. And now look what I've done. My intention was to mess with Dan more than Ham. Yeah, it's Kenj. Who was Hobby? I think that was Dan. I'll unblock Hobby Hampton then. Two accounts at once is hard. Wait, Hobby Hand wasn't you? I guess that just shows how loved you are. Attack of the Clones! Yeah. Oh no, not another one! Oh no! What is happening? You're right, this VOD is Attack of the Ham Clones. I mean, that one was inevitable. I may have to turn phone verification back on for chat if this goes too much further. Okay, spam was me. You should. I need peace. I'm just sitting here trying to make a cute emote, and honestly, I have no idea what's going on right now. Emote is still cooking good, by the way, thank you. Chaos goblins are filling your chat. Yeah. I don't think this goof has longevity, TBH. Yeah. You'd think. I mean, Hobby Hamtaro has lasted several streams, so who knows, honestly. It's because Hobby Hamtaro is an original. What is that? What is an original? It's an original copy. Yeah, we've got the original ham right here. That's right. Xerox. It keeps degrading the more you do it. To be clear, I'm the original. Shoot me. Thank you for specifying platonic. Yeah, that's good enough. It's still creepy, but less. Can't wait to be a brat with this emote. There we go. I think that's it. Oh, I need to do the sticker thing. Do we think it's like, I'm not convinced it's like, I feel like it's beneath black, but they were here earlier. I mean, they haven't showed up again, so whoever it was. Ken's just being awfully quiet. Time for a corkboard and some thread string. Yeah, true. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to know my my biggest art tip that nobody listens to? And it's not just me saying this, like a lot of artists say this, but a lot of beginner artists ignore it. Like every beginner artist ignores it. Do you want to know what leveled up my art like significantly? Nobody listens to? Sure, but I won't listen. Moxie has a pathological fear of body snatchers. My number one art tip, and a lot of artists' number one art tip that will increase your art skill exponentially: turn off the damn stabilizer. Turn it off. Turn off the stabilizer. Don't keep the stabilizer. It's bad. Stabilizers will hold you back. Whatever kind of stabilizer your art program has. I didn't know my crayons have a stabilizer. No, you're good. But like digital artists, stop using the stabilizer. Stabilizers are the devil. I was drawing with Penny. The reason this comes up, I was drawing with Penny yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, dude, your pen has so much stabilizer on it." And she was like, "Yeah, but I need the stabilizer." And I was like, "No, you don't." I know that you think you do, but you don't. But I feel like it's a canon event, you know? Like, every artist has to go through it. Every artist has to realize for themselves that the stabilizer sucks. But yeah, that's my number one art tip. Turn off the damn stabilizer. I also find that I like bigger screen tablets. Like, I cannot draw when it's too small. Held my hand out for Maeve to come sniff, and she sat down and looked at me disdainfully. Oh no, she's becoming a teenager. Your cat's becoming a teenager. That's so funny. I wonder why she did that. Because she's usually so loving. She's such a like lovey cat. I think she's sleepy. Fair. You know what? I don't really want to be touched when I've just woken up either. So that's fair. Man, I was so grumpy this morning. So, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, because I haven't had this problem since I switched doctors. But basically, my dysphoria blockers didn't get filled. For whatever reason, I was off by like a month. That might be the creepiest thing you've ever said. That, Ham, that might be the creepiest thing you've ever said. Also, my monitor cut it off, so I did not see the words "your head," and that made it worse. Like the R and then the word "head" was cut off, so that was horrible. You did not, Hobby Hamtaro did not have to say that. I platonically stroke your hair when you sleep. That is a lot less creepy than what I thought you said. I was about to be like, whoa. Like, I know I let you guys say a lot of crap around here. That one. that one might get you a timeout. I take breaks from being in the walls sometimes. Eat your snacks. Oh, that's where all my snacks go. Where were you when I left my muffins here? I made some blueberry muffins. Where were you then? One of them went moldy because they didn't get eaten in time because I left them here over the weekend. I was so sad. I was so sad. Oh, whoops. What's happening here? Where am I? I had a busy weekend. Wall stuff. That's fair. Alright. I'll allow it. I didn't get a muffin. How cruel. You didn't get a muffin? Were you not here? Oh, that's right. You weren't here. You were on your little vacation. Little mini vacation. You're at the sea. I'll make muffins again. Yeah, that weekend. Did you go on vacation with them? Is that why you were in their walls? Yeah, okay. What a muffin. I'm sorry. I can't bake muffins for... Actually, I probably could bake muffins for my entire chat. I was gonna say, I can't bake muffins for my entire chat, but then I realized I'm not that big of a streamer. I actually can. That'd be fun to do a baking stream. Everyone go make your own muffins. They're really easy. I think a baking stream would be really fun. I don't know how I would set it up in this house, though. How would you VTuber bake? A lot of people do it. They set up like a green screen. There's actually several cooking VTubers that I know about. One of the big ones is Onigiri. She does a lot of baking or cooking streams in general. And then there's another one, and I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, you can totally do baking streams without like revealing your face. Yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of like good VTuber technology. Like there's a VTuber who goes by Code Miko, I believe is her username. And she does a lot of like mocap stuff. She's not afraid to like she's fine with like seeing her face. So she does like combination content, and she does a lot of like mocap content where she sticks the like mocap stickers to random things in her house to put them in the digital world. She did her dog recently. She like put mocap stickers on her dog. I just found a VTuber model that I super like, and I think I might set it up. Nice! Yes! More VTubers! I wish I had the money to like keep my Live 2D subscription year round. Like if I did like VTuber commissions, which like I don't know, if you guys ever wanted me to do that, then I probably would. Like because you guys are pretty chill. But like if I ever were to do like VTuber commissions, I would have to charge. I mean, I would charge a lot for those anyways because they're a lot of fucking work. But I would have to charge at least enough to get my Live 2D subscription for the time that I would be working on it. So like a month's, probably a month's Live 2D thing. Wait, what happened here? I did the wrong one. What does Live 2D want to charge? It's like $100 for a month. It's like 90 something because yen is weak, but like it's like $100 per month. Oh yeah, did you resolve the Ko-fi issues? No. No, that's not $100 a month. It's $100 for a year's subscription. That's right. It's like 13 something per month. But I don't know. I just like I just can't also. Yeah. It's the donation goal that's totally visible on Streamwall. I didn't want it to be too busy. I can put it at the top, I guess. Put it here. It is back there. Ko-fi bummed me out when they removed the search feature. They removed the search feature? Why? That's like the basicest feature of any website, is a search. Why would you remove the search? Oops. Okay. So if I shrink this down really small. I think that's pretty visible. Apparently people weren't getting seen because algorithms and they wanted to make it fair. What? That's dumb. Now creators are subject to the algorithm of other sites. Wow. It's really dumb. Alright, if you guys reload the stream, you should have the no emote. Hit a reason, but the reason was dumb. This removes another chance for visibility. Yeah. So no emote should be available now. I think I want to do this one in Live 2D. Yeah, there you go. They look pretty good. Let's see, which one? I can update the shrimp really easily. It wasn't quick, it was 2.5 hours. Maybe 2 hours. That's not quick. I mean, the upload was super fast. Oh yeah, I have the thing where I don't need to like have them approve it. They just trust me to, because I'm a good boy. I need to... But I'm not a boy. So yeah, if you're a good boy. Yeah, same brain. You don't have to be a boy to be a good boy. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a boy either. I'm a boy. Not a boy. A boy. It's like you guys are siblings or something. Yeah, exactly. Alright. Yeah, boy. I'm really happy with this no emote, actually. I'm like really happy with that. I think it looks really good. Let's update this one because it's symmetrical. Let me get... There we go. Okay. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Thanks to that song, we all learned how to spell bananas. Yeah. This is how Babe looks at me when I have protein waffles. Mother. Waffle. Mother, waffle. Waffle, please, mother. Like no sugar, light on carbs. I think they just have added protein. I don't know. They're frozen. Moxie gets some. Let's see, get some frozen. I can pretend I'm getting nutrients. Mood. Look at this little lad. What a little lad. This is so cute. I recently got diagnosed with the type 2 diabetes. Oh no. That sucks. I'm sorry. I'm surprised I don't have any kind of diabetes, honestly. I have many things, but I don't have diabetes yet. I blame my dad. I get most of my medical issues from my mom. You know how in like dogs, it's gonna sound really weird. You know how in dogs, purebred dogs are more likely to get diseases than mutts are? Like mutts tend to be more like healthy. I wonder if that's true for humans too. Like the more mixed you are. Is it? That's cool. Well, I don't mean like inbred, but like cause purebred dogs aren't necessarily inbred. Really? Huh. I didn't know that. I thought they were just like, I guess at some point you do. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Why? Oh. Like they'll claim they're not, but there's no way to avoid it. Hmm. Sneaky. We don't like sneaky people around here. Around these parts. Gotta be good and honest if you're gonna be here. Or funny. What's this about sneaky people? People who lie are bad. Lying is bad. Yeah, the whole purebred practice is pretty gross even without the inbreeding. Yeah, I'm not for purebred dogs or anything. Everyone lies. I don't. Pretty much never, actually. My mom drilled it into my head that that lying was worse than murder. Like, she'll help you bury the body, but you better not lie about it. That's my mom. We have the autism. We do, in fact, have the autism. I don't see a reason to lie, also. Just in general. I wish I could do kind lies, but I can't fake emotional responses. Sometimes lying is good. Is a good/kind thing. I worry more about a person's motives. Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not gonna, like... I have the social skills to, like, not go out of my way to be... Like, I won't lie. I may, like, bend the truth a little bit. Like... I'm not gonna go and someone's gonna be like, hey, am I ugly? And, like, if I thought they were ugly, I would never tell them that. I also don't generally think people are ugly, but I think ugly is like actions, not appearances. But like, if someone was like, hey, am I ugly? And they, like, I don't know, were for some reason. As in, why did they lie? Were they trying to be helpful to me in some way? Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Alright, that's done. Do this one. I could do this one really quick. Because I think it's funny. How quick? I don't know. We'll see. Can I do it before Black goes live? Let's find out. Stretch. Thank you. Race the Black. That's not helpful. What canvas size is this? That's the right size. What? Okay, whatever. You guys are so helpful. Thank you. I'm not gonna put a limit on bits. I don't think I can put a limit on bits. Because it's like real money. Single bits? Yeah, I don't know. I might be able to put a cooldown on the bonk. My cat's scratching at my door. I can hear her. Mother, let me in. I promise I won't be annoying. Thank you. No, I did make it in time. I did. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I totally made it in time. I totally made it in time. Don't worry about it. It's not even time yet. It's not even time. It's not even time. They're early. That's not fair. I totally made it in time. Don't worry about it. Ta-da! It's done. I totally did it. It's fine. Look, I'm even uploading it. I've even got it. I've got it uploaded. Tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3. Well, this was chaotic. I did get this out of it though, so hey, this is pretty good. I'm very much enjoying this one. Yeah, they actually started their loading thing on time today, which never happens. All right, chat. Let me put my tablet back. All right, my wrist hurts, so I guess it's a good time to stop anyways. Let's head on over, give Blackwood a raid. They're playing more ZA. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Okay. I think that's all I have to talk about. So bye! Have fun in the raid!